Hello, and welcome to the tool of the day. So it's quite dark outside, so I'm looking like in dungeons. So today's tool is a question that I have been using a lot as well, and it usually you use. I use it situations where it kind in the situation that kind of works against me. I learned this tool again, this question from through Access Consciousness, like most of the tools I'm using at the moment. So basically, question goes, how can I use this to my advantage? I'm gonna type it. How use this? Okay, so this is the question. How can I use this to my advantage? Like, especially these days, it's a very perfect time to use it due to coronavirus mayhem and the nightmares. Lots of people are losing their jobs, their businesses, and relationships. I'm not saying all of them, but lots of people are doing that. So what you can actually do is basically ask yourself, how can I use this situation to my advantage? And don't look for the answer. You basically just by saying the question out, not just out loud, you can say it in your head or out loud over and over again. You are creating the energy of change, how the situation can change to your advantage. Like for example, if you have to go where I could I think yes. Well, like for example, few years ago, I was flying to India. I was at the airport. My cat wants to get in. I was flying. I was flying. I was supposed to fly not to airport to India. 1 second. I'm gonna let my cat in. Cats are most important thing in my life. So I was flying to India, and I was in the airport in Riga, and so basically I was flying through Moscow, and so at the check-in desk, the lady told me that the name of the my name is incorrectly used. I incorrectly entered the name and the last name like opposite, like instead of where I supposed to put last name, I put my first name, so on. And so basically, it means like, well, what's a big deal, isn't it? But for the air, eh, what do they call them? Air company, air companies. I don't know. Who cares? So basically, it means like it's a different person. Like so, and I don't think I had a lot of time to the checking, boarding. And basically, they sent me to the different desk, and they had to call to the. I guess they were calling to Moscow to check if I can change it, like very quick. And how much would it cost? Because I actually heard that, like with Ryanair, I don't know if you know air company, air company. What do they call themselves? Okay, so basically, it costs like $100 to actually change a name on the ticket. But so while the lady was on the phone, she told me it usually takes really long time to actually change it. Even though in my head, I know it takes you just in a computer just as long as you can type. It's as long as it takes. They just basically create these and rules and restrictions just for the sake of having rules and restrictions. So I'm standing there and I'm using the tools from the first question I not the first question, from the first video I did, first daily tools, like how does it get any better than this and what else is possible. And I added like, how can I use this situation to my advantage? And I just do all of them, all those questions, and I think it didn't take like 5 minutes. 5 minutes, and 5 minutes, and she came back to me and she said, "Oh, it's gonna take like 10 minutes to change it, and it costs like 15 euros." So it's fine. I'm happy to pay 15 euros. And so basically, sometimes that's how quickly the questions work. Like another situation, maybe not related to this question, was I was flying. Yeah, it looks like I have lots of problems with flying. Well, yeah, I did have, because I didn't get to America. They told me in airports that they can't get to America. Oh, never mind. That's a different story. So basically, I'm flying from Riga to London, and then I have to change the planes and go from London to Marseille. No, Toulouse in France. So I fly in London, Stansted Airport, and I go to check into the other plane, and they told me that I can't get on the plane. So basically, apparently, all the flights to France has been cancelled. So what do I do now? I have to be in Marseille. Yeah, I was flying to Toulouse, but I have to be in Marseille. I hope it pronounced it correctly. For the training course with one of my clients. And so I have to be there tomorrow. So I'm standing in a queue, and there's quite a big queue because lots of, especially Ryanair planes to France being cancelled due to people protesting. Like airport workers were protesting something. They do lots of protesting in France. So basically, I'm standing in queue. I have like 10 people in front of me, and I'm doing all these questions. How does it get any better than this? What else is possible? How can I use this to my advantage? What's right about this I'm not getting? And all of that. And I'm just telling you this situation to show you how the energetically, how it feels when you ask those questions. So I'm standing in a queue, and I don't have a like a expectation of what the result could be, but I'm just doing this question just to change the energy, to change my kind of mindset, to change how I feel about the situation. So I move up to in a queue. I move closer, and when I get to the point where there's only one person in front of me, I get this sense of it doesn't matter if I'm standing in a queue or if I'm gonna talk to that sales clerk or information agent. I don't know how you call them, because I knew it's not like a guess or something. It's literally from doing these questions, I got an awareness that it doesn't matter what the guy at the counter says, it's not going to work for me anyway. So I have to look for a different different solution. And I get the sense that I need to go into London Center, take a bus to the London. And so basically I get to talk to the guy, and he basically tells me I can be on a standby, and they can put me in a hotel. The next flight leaves next morning at 6 or something. And so, yeah, he basically says that I can be on standby, or the next flight I can take is a week later. So, what is the point? I'm in London, it's not like I live in London and can just take any plane. I'm literally flew in from Latvia, so I'm gonna wait in airport for a week for the next flight. That's ridiculous. So I took the hotel voucher. I knew I'm not gonna use it, but just in case. So what did I do? I actually called my friend who lived in London. I asked him, because he's from France. He used to live in Paris. And I knew that my client at the time, she was in Paris meeting with a friend. So she basically was staying with a friend, and I knew that she's going by train next morning to Marseille from Paris. So I called my friend and I asked him what are the options. And so he basically said I can take like a bus or train. No, not the train, bus. Yeah, I could take the train, but trains are more expensive and at the time I was on a budget. So what I did, I took the coach to the London city center. While I was on the coach, on the internet I booked a ticket from London to Paris for night bus. I think it left around 10 o'clock in the evening. So, and another thing I did, so because I was going to Paris, I contacted my client so she could actually got me a ticket. If she could get me a ticket from Paris to Marseille the same time as she does, because it was easier for her to get the ticket because she knew where to go and what to buy. So, and then I can give her money back. And I had a couple hours like in between time I arrived in London and between time and the time where my bus leaves to Paris. So I went to visit my friend. So in a sense, the trip turned out even more interesting. I got to meet my friend. I got to see Paris for the first time. And I got to do a train ride from Paris to Marseille, which was like about 3 or 4 hours. And I love trains. If I had to travel, that's my favorite like a way to travel is by train. So the moral of the story is like that's like a whole situation how when you ask the question in a situation that doesn't work for you, like how can I use this to my advantage? What else is possible? How does it get any better than this? You just basically have to become this maniac. I don't know what's the word. Like a maniac. Crazy asking question squirrel or something. And basically just go in your head. It's almost like you don't think about anything else. You just ask that question and let that question create the energy of change. You basically put out in the universe that you want something different than it's currently. And universe is looking for these solutions to your thing. You don't have to figure it out. Like I used to be one of those people who constantly lives in the head, constantly needs to figure out, and and nothing gets done. So when you actually ask the question over and over again, you basically get out of your head and you let the universe take care of you, or let the God take care of you. And so that's the short. Like today I got a little bit longer. So yeah, how can I use this to my advantage as a question when, especially like working with people, like let's say if you need like some documents sorted. In Latvia, bureaucracy is like very there. It's more important than anything. And sometimes it's very difficult to deal with those people who are so bureaucracy inclined. And it's a very good, this question is really good when you need to these things. Because usually we get into anger, frustration, and with these people who just needs lots of papers. You need sign this, you can't go there because you need this paper, you need that. But when you ask these questions, I use this like a lot of times, and it makes actually the process so much easier and so much more fun, and so much everything is done so much quicker. Okay, I went for too long today already. So use the questions. Try this question. Where is this? Use this question. Let me know in comments how it works. Please share, like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you again tomorrow. Bye bye.